Hello, and here we are again, another exciting episode with the Crotchety Old Men podcast. Hi, I'm Gary Smith, co-host, and with me today is, of course, my two partners in crime. Well, I always say in crime, but we don't commit crimes. But it's just
Not
in
anymore.
rhyme. Not no self-incrimination here. All right. But these two old guys have been with me for a long while, and so I've been with them. So it's like family up in here. And so here we are again, and we wanted to just say hello again. And from the Crotchety Old Men, make certain that you hit the subscribe button below. Again, we coming to you live, and whether it be on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, you name it. Wherever you get your podcast information from, you'll find the Crotchety Old Men podcast right there, ready, willing, and able to disperse information to you that's hopefully is going to be inspiring, educational, and as well as informational. All right, so here we are, gentlemen. George, what's up, man? What's going on?
Smitty, it's another great day, man. I tell you, every day I can look up and, it's such a blessing. So, I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be here.
All right, nothing wrong with happiness. Be safe. Talk to me.
Hey, how's everybody doing? My day is great as well. Nothing like being with brothers you've grown up with and hung out with and plotted and planned with and whatnot. And here we are plotting and planning some more.
All right, now let's make it do what it do. Now I think we're here today. We're going to talk about part two, right, George?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Up in
Last
the-
week we talked about, the 9 points of, what can encourage you to have a long lasting life. And we talked about the first 5 points, actually the first 4 points. I mean, it got so interesting. But today we're going to start with point number 5. And point number 5 is find your crew. Okay,
Uh-oh.
so everybody know what that is. Find your crew.
Oh yeah,
It
we're all familiar with that one.
Yeah, it could be friendship, kinship. It's the power of connection. It's being with people. That's what life's all about. It's at church, it's at work, it's at home. It's family outings and things like. But you gotta have that interconnection. You gotta have, and what we have that long-lasting friendship. We've been knowing each other since we all had hair.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we just gonna continue to get old together and just continue to do our thing because it makes us feel so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at friendships and relationships, particularly like we have, and I'm sure there's others out there who have developed and cultivated relationships and friendships, and so it's so important because you create the right ones, they'll sustain you for life, if you will. But you have to be very selective and highly selective about who you allow into your stage of life, though. All right. We've all heard this analogy before. If you hang around five drunk people or alcoholics, you're bound to be the sixth one. Well, the reverse of that is also true. If you hang around five wise people or let's say book people that love to read books, if you hang around five book readers, chances are you're going to be the sixth one. So habit forming and good habits are typically formed based upon the crew that we're with. You know, I notice, coming up sometimes, you see a guy, you think he's cool and, how he may have that swag or how he may shoot a basketball or what have you. Well, God gave him that gift, but it looks so smooth or it looks so cool, you try to emulate it. And it's saying that the best form of what is it, imitation, best form of admiration is imitation or whatever, how that go. And so it's the same thing with selecting your crew. And so I'm just blessed and glad that I got a crew like you guys here because, man, every time we together, I walk away smarter and wiser than I was before. And so hopefully there's others out there that can attest to that. And matter of fact, if you and your crew are tight like that, send us a line on to the Crotchety Old Men. Let us know about your crew. And who knows, we may invite you on as a guest, all right, to come on the air with us and tell us about your crew and what makes you guys stick like glue. There you go.
Hello.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead,
like
Gary.
it. I like it. I mean, that's it, and that's it. It's love. It's being harmonious. It's that feeling you get. I mean,
Yeah,
when you see your buddies, you know, you want to hug, embrace, and whatnot. It it it's a feeling, and that's something that helps us live longer. You know, a lot of people don't get that. You know, a lot of people don't get that. So, you know, cherish that. You know, cherish to have friends for 40, 50 years. I mean, it's a good thing. It's a real good thing. People that you can depend on, people that you can
hmm
talk with, and they can understand you. You know, one of the things that I like is, okay, so you got a good friend, you haven't talked to him in about, you know, maybe a year.
hmm
But as soon as you start talking, guess what? You pick up right where you left off.
Right.
You ain't got to
Absolutely.
go back and get history. You
Absolutely.
pick up right where you left off. You
yep.
know, how was so and
Well,
so?
well,
How's this
well.
kid?
You know what? On the science side of that, George, you're talking about energy. That feeling that you get, that tingly feeling that you get when you come together, that's energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. So it would stand to reason that, if we haven't spoken to one another in a year, then that transformation happens to be time. But the energy is the same when we get together. But it is like something we done picked up from just the day before. You know what I mean? And that's the good thing about energy and understanding energy and what it does for our bodies and what it does for our minds and our emotions.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's the next one, George?
This one's an interesting one, and here again, like you said, everything in moderation, but it's the 80% rule. Researchers show that the people that live in the blue zone, and remember we talked about the blue zone are the people that live 10 times longer than the people in America, um, eat their smallest meal in the late afternoon or early morning, and they don't eat any more for the rest of the day. And then thirdly, they stop eating when their stomach is 80% full. So I'm gonna let
Mm,
PC talk a little, kind of elaborate on this. But here again, you know, it's all in moderation.
It's always been said that you eat in the morning like you're a king, and you eat in the afternoon. Your meal should be like you're a prince, and then your meal at night should be like you're a pauper, which goes right back to what you were saying, George. As you start eating during the course of the day, okay, so you breaking your fast from the night before. So you've had elimination, you've had cleansing and whatnot that goes on with your body at night. So now it needs to be replenished. So you want to eat your biggest meal in the morning. That takes care of most of your stuff. Sustenance is key. So then your meal is smaller in the afternoon, and at night that's just the cap off to whatever your body has to do in the middle of the night while you're asleep. Cell reproduction, and cleansing of the blood, digestion, elimination and digestion. So all of those things matter, and they matter at certain times of the day. So you're absolutely right, George. It definitely pays attention to what you're eating and how you're eating. And 80% full, the other 20% ought to be water. So I mean, you should be 100% full by the time you get to 80. Just eat.
Well said. Well
okay,
said.
well said.
So the next thing is, put your loved ones first. Okay, loving relationship. You know, family. You know, the best thing about getting old is grandchildren. And the best thing about grandchildren is they always go home.
Hello.
But you're gonna love on them while they're there.
Why they there? That's right.
So you know
Absolutely.
that's what they say. Having grandchildren helps you live longer.
Yeah.
And even
Oh
great
yeah.
You've
grands, when
heard.
you got great grands in the mix, that helps even further. Because now you recognize that you have a place where you want to see the family flourish. You know what I mean? And you can see its efforts by the fact that you got children, grandchildren, and great grands. And there's no feeling like that on earth, man. And being a grandparent or a great grandparent, I must say, it really makes life worth living at this point.
Man, it's an honor. It's a badge of honor, man, for us men, particularly. A lot of women get a chance to experience and enjoy it, but for us men, to be around and be able to enjoy your offspring, your children's children. I think it says somewhere in the word that we are to leave an inheritance to our children's children and stuff. And but best inheritance that any man that can give to their children is time. That's it. Time. You can give all the money and stuff and buy all the gifts and send them home, send them their way, and yeah, they'll keep that gift and probably remember it for a few hours. But it's that time, the memories of going fishing with Papa, or the memories of going hunting, or the memories of just sitting on the porch. I used to do, used to have a carving knife, and you would twiddle, get you a twig or something or a block of wood and carve and things like that, and make pipes and make all kind of. We think we were talking about in one of the other episodes about being creative. And there's so many things that the three of us know, and I'm sure there's hundreds and thousands of other men out there like us, that we have a lot of wisdom. And you watch a child when they're in their discovery stage, from zero to, well, from their early age to 7, let's say. And so when they see a stone or a different color rock, they're in amazement. Or a butterfly, they don't know. They see the white butterfly, and then all of a sudden they see a monarch. I'm sorry, and then now that's something that's miraculous and amazing to the eye. And so now you can take your time and the two of you can explore it. And it's almost like reliving your childhood again vicariously through them, because of the excitement. And you see it in their eyes, the excitement of seeing a caterpillar crawl around or whatever. So, those type of things. Of course, those who have gardens, you understand what I'm talking about. You see the little bugs and insects and stuff like that. But it's such an entertaining and an opportune time to bond, because those will be some of the things that kids will remember. Just like with their women, learning how to make cupcakes, and the kids learning how to do baking, and that sort of stuff. Well, us guys, we got some things, and it goes beyond just hunting and fishing. All right. So anyway, but spending that time,
No,
it's so precious.
you're absolutely right, Smitty. I mean, I was with my granddaughter this weekend, and what we were doing was blowing bubbles. I had to
Hmm.
figure out how to blow bubbles again. You know, with the little thing you blow through. It's a
Yep.
technique to that, because if you blow too hard, they don't come out. You got to set it out a little bit further from your mouth. You got to blow real slow. So, but it was an eye opener. But she loved it, man. Every time I blow a bubble, she busting the bubbles, and we sat out there, man, for 20 minutes blowing bubbles. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean that hey,
Those
that
little
adds
things.
just a different glee to your life. It does.
That's right. Those little
And
things.
not only to ours, but to theirs too, because just like you got 108 amino acids that are actually building blocks for your body. The more time that we spend with our children, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, those are building blocks for them too. You know what I mean? And it settles them. It anchors them in a way where they know they have family. They know that they've been loved. They know that they've been touched, and all of those promote some healthy hormonal activity in your body.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what I tell people. At the end of the day, that's all you have is memories. I mean, think about it.
Hmm.
That's all you have is memories. So you want any time, any opportunity you have, you want to create memories, and it's with you, with your loved ones, your wife, your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, if you're blessed enough to have those also. But creating the memories,
Yeah.
pictures, take a lot of pictures and review those pictures, because when you look at those pictures, they're gonna bring back those memories, and you're gonna remember where you were, what you were doing, and you see those smiling faces. Hey, it's a
Yeah.
blessing. It's a
Yes, it is.
blessing.
All
Definitely a
right.
blessing. So, but yeah. Now this next one is interesting. It says find a place you belong, a church, community center, some type of faith-based relationship. Know God. You know, researchers have found that this could add up to 14 years to your life. So hey, it's important. They don't tell you how to worship, but it's important to understand that there is a higher being than us. You know, as I always say, God's in control. You know. We may be at the wheel, but God's in control.
Yeah. Whether you
And
believe
thank
in
God
God or
for
not,
that.
yeah. Amen. I look at it like this. You may not believe in gravity either, but doggone it, test it.
Splat.
So, I'm like this, the fear of missing out, man. I ain't testing God. Okay. I believe you exist. And I'm just gonna take it for face value that you do. You here, okay? And I got enough proof for me. But you're right, George. Having balance of life. Certainly, we talk about financial well-being, our healthy well-being, relationships, spiritual well-being gives you that balance. Because let's face it, we're spiritual beings having a human experience down here on this place called Earth, and we're here for a good time, not a long time. And so, understanding that, you'll value the length of time that you're here on this place called Earth, and knowing that you're not here of yourself, and you certainly as hell ain't here by yourself. So understand that, get inside yourself, and I think you talked about it briefly, but spend some time with yourself and with your maker, with that Howard power.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. I mean, it's and it could be at a community center, it could be at the gym, wherever. I mean, but it's some type of relationship, that has a spiritual base to it. It's so important in your life.
Yeah, that's
I know
balance.
when in my field of study and practice, um, we look at four platforms of a human existence, and that's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And as we are holistic practitioners, one of the major things that we really have to discern when we look at dis-ease is to find out the exact source of where this dis-ease comes from.
Mhm.
And the spiritual aspect of us umbrellas everything else. So if we're mentally off center, 9 times out of 10 our spirit's off center too. If we're emotionally off center, 9 times out of 10 we're spiritually off center too. So what does that say about spirituality and the necessity of it in our lives? And the fact is that it is very necessary, because as you so eloquently stated, Gary, we're a spirit having a human experience. Okay, so right there, spirituality tells you what's important, and what's even more important is that the fact that, uh, as George mentioned, that we need to know that there's something higher than ourselves that we can depend on and we can have a relationship with. And it's important to have a relationship with your higher power, whatever that might be. We don't judge what that is here on this service, on this podcast, but whatever it is, um, that's what's going to maintain your spirituality, having that relationship with your higher power.
Amen. Somebody say amen to that.
Well,
It's some good stuff, even as we talk about it, you reflect on your own life and how these things fit in. And like I say, everything in moderation. But if you have some of these things in your life already, and you look at where you are, I mean, we're all over 70. I mean, we must be doing something right. We all had good doctor's reports. So, it,
Amen.
it, it pays off, Now, number nine, if I had to pick all of them, pick one out of these nine, number nine is probably going to be at the top of the list for me, and that's know your why. And I know Gary's going to jump all over this because that's one of his favorite subjects. But as I coach basketball, that's one of the things I always ask my team: know your why. Why are you here? What do you want to work on? What are you doing? I mean, know your why. Your why creates your passion. It creates your purpose, and without a purpose, I mean, it's like a roadmap. I mean, if you don't know where you're going, how you going to know when you get there?
That's
So
right.
you got to have a purpose. So in this particular thing, what do I do? What do I love? That's your passion. What am I good at? That's your profession. What does the world need? That's your mission. And what can I be compensated for? That's your vocation. So those are four things that fit into your why. So like I said, I know Smitty gonna jump all over this because I know this is one of his favorite things.
Man, you know it is. You know it is. Man, your why is that's the fuel to life. You have to live life intentionally. When you wake up, get up. Uh, I think so many, especially retirees, they tend to not want to. They don't get up at a certain time, or they don't get up until later, or what have you, because they don't have a why. Have a why. Why you do anything. Kids can worry the heck out of you because they ask that one question, why? You say, and then we'll have that knee jerk answer, because I said so, because you're frustrated. Well, you're frustrated because you don't have a corner and you haven't thought it all the way through. They're inquisitive. Why? Why can't I go to the store? Because I said, but because I said so is not a good answer. And so often we give ourselves that same excuse. Why don't you feel like? Because I don't feel like it. Really? And so we'll allow that to stop us and stomp us with our growth. And we think you don't stop growing just because you get older. All right. There's other areas of growth other than inches. Now, some of you may grow as far as weight, but aside from that, there's still a lot of room to grow. Okay. And I think the only room that has, the room of improvement is where you can grow the most, but your why is important. And like George said, I could jump on it. We can make a whole another podcast on why. But why is what makes you go past that resistance. Why is the things that make you go get past those obstacles? Why is the things that keep you going when you have every reason to stop? But if your why is strong enough, the how won't matter. I mean, coming
That's
from
right.
sales, that was always the thing, the driving force. There was a goal that I wanted, whether it was a new BMW, or whether I wanted to go on a trip, or whatever it was that I wanted. That was the why. And I would put that bad boy, a photo of it or advertising about it, whatever, on my wall or on the mirror. And so every time I passed by, it was a reminder of why I'm doing this. Why am I making that one more phone call? I'm tired as heck. I done got 9 no's. I said I was gonna make 10 calls. All right. But I'm so beaten down and stuff. And we get this way in our daily lives, our jobs, our businesses, Lord knows. But there's always that one thing, that why that makes you go. And it's got to be more than paying a bill. Okay. Because you hear somebody right now say, well, my reason for why, hell, I got to pay these bills next week at the end of the month. And that may be true. That's a why, but it's not strong enough. It's certainly not strong enough. If something else comes up and takes you off your corner, that's why you need to be able to reach deep down inside and pull out that why. What's my purpose? And it needs to be something. I used to tell people, salespeople, if your why is not strong enough to make you cry, then you don't have a big enough why.
That's
Your
right.
why should touch you emotionally because that's what's going to make you perform.
Absolutely, man. That's it, man. That's what I mean. You think about it, that's what drives you. I
That's
mean,
what drives you.
my why over my whole life was been one thing: is to get to where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to get all my time back, not
Yep.
have to worry about financials, to to love on my family, to have grandchildren, great grandchildren. That's always been my big overall why. And hey, that's why it's like I said, I'm
That's
happy.
it.
I hey. Life is good. I have no complaints, and
Amen.
just gonna keep on enjoying it day in and day out because I know my why.
Yep.
I knew why I got up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
I knew why I had a car that's always gonna get me to where I was going to go. I knew why I always did what I needed to do at the job to take that next step to get that promotion. Because
Mm-hmm.
I knew that my overall why was not going to be fulfilled unless I did those things. And hey, paid
Right,
Yeah.
off.
right, right, right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Financial freedom and the ability to call my own shots, make my own decisions, and stroke my own checks. You know, it's freedom. I mean, you really can't even put a price tag on freedom. And so if
Mm-hmm.
your why could be just that, I want to be free from this job, I want to be free from this city or whatever it is,
Right. That's
that's what
right.
is going
That's
to
right.
propel you to move. It could be a relationship, it could be a toxic relationship, it could be a myriad of things, but it's got to be strong enough to touch you emotionally. Because if it doesn't touch that emotional nerve, saying I don't feel like it, I quit or whatever, that's going to
It's
stop
not
you.
going to
And
push you
don't let
past.
nothing stop you. It's not going to get you past it. You know,
That's
so
right.
I could harp on that forever, but I'll stop because I'm over here chomping at the bits to want to keep talking. Just
Let
shut
it
up.
go. Let it go.
I tell you, talking about getting out of the bed every morning. I get up every morning at 7, and my why is because I got to get that 5 miles in. That's
Right.
what keeps me going.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that 5 miles to look at, I'd probably lay in the bed for another 30, 45 minutes. But
Hmm.
I know, hey, I got to get it done. Got to get
Yeah.
it done. So hey, you
Yeah.
got to have a why every morning. You got to have, like you said, because if you don't, you're not gonna get out the bed.
Oh yeah. 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 And you can't get the time back. The time that you either spend in time or you invest in time,
Oh yeah, that time's gone.
it's gone. No matter how you cut it, it's gone. You can't get it back. Okay, and so I want to get all 24 hours out of my day if I can. I'm still like a kid. I hate to go to sleep. I fight it. My wife would tell you, man, I'm in the bed. I got glasses, computers. I got my notebook in over here. I got my calculator on to the side. She look at me and said, man, if you don't get this mess out of the bed, I don't want to stop. I'll find something else, something to read, or I'm doing a calculation, man. I got up this morning about 3 o'clock this morning. She said, what's wrong? You can't sleep. I said, no, I got an idea. I got to write it down. I got to get up. And sure enough, I'm up and man, I want to make sure I got my walk in before we did this podcast and stuff. So I'm excited about life still, man. I'm more excited about life now than I was 50 years ago. I can't wait to wake up, and I hate to go to sleep, go to bed, man. And so, yeah, because my
And
brain just starts.
you know what, Gary. We come to an age now where we have a little understanding about what life is and what life's about. And when we
Yeah,
get that understanding about what life is and what life about, oh my God, it's so much more freeing. We can breathe easier. Um, we've dispelled a lot of the fears and a lot of the myths that went along with what we've been taught or what we've been said
mhm,
based on what somebody else may do or not do. We got to find our own niche, so to say. God
yeah,
put a certain a gift in us that nobody else has. So how am I supposed to hear from you that, oh, I can't do thus and so? You need to stick with this or stick with that. That's not going to work for most people.
mhm,
Most people got to
mhm.
find their way.
That's right. I fired enough bosses in my life to know
You and I both, Gary.
they don't fire me. I fired
You and I
them.
both. You and I
So
both.
that was my
It's
why.
been
All
good,
right.
some good stuff, man. This has been really good stuff.
Amen.
2 good episodes. Let me just summarize. For
Yes.
those that want to put it all together. Um, first one was move naturally, meaning get some exercise. Say yes to happy hour. Um, take time to downshift. Get yourself on a plant-based diet. Find your crew. Abide by the 80% rule. Put your loved ones first. Find a place you belong. And like I said, the most important one, I think, is find your why. Because I think if you find your why, 1 through 8 just fall in place. That's my thing.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Absolutely.
Well said. As the Vulcan would say, live long and prosper.
I like that, Vulcan.
All right. All right.
Because
All
there's
right.
a lot of folks out here concerned about outliving their money. You know,
Yeah,
so
That's
yeah,
probably not a bad thing, is it? As
yeah, it's probably not as long as you live.
long as you live, right?
right. That's the
Exactly.
key right there. That the live part.
Hopefully
You know,
everything will be paid for. You ain't got to worry about the money
yeah,
by that time. If
but
you that old,
I know we
or
rocking
even
up here. But it
even
is.
better yet, you got them grandchildren gonna take care of you. So that's even better.
Well, you
I know
hope.
hope is not
You
a
hope,
strategy,
man.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You only hope. Well,
but
since we're
hey,
gonna wrap
you're
this
raising
up,
right.
Yeah, I've got a word, and
All
this
right.
word is taken from James Baldwin. The longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light.
Well said.
Oh, well said, as always, PC. Well, you know how
As
we like to
always.
say on the crotchety old men, y'all. If you
Hey, if you
didn't
didn't
know,
know,
If you didn't know,
now
now
you
you
know.
you
know.
didn't
All right, fellas.
know. All
Take
right.
Peace
care.
out, everybody.
Be
Peace.
blessed. Hi, this is George with the Crotchety Old Men podcast. Hopefully, you've enjoyed listening to the Crotchety Old Men as much as we've enjoyed making each episode. If so, send us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you at the Crotchety Old Men podcast at gmail.com. Let us know what you enjoy about the show, what you'd like to hear more of. We'd love to receive your feedback. Remember, that's the Crotchety Old Men podcast at gmail.com. And as we always say, if you didn't know, now you know. Peace.